So I'm going to be showing you how I preserve my basil. I'll be just using an ice cube tray, and I've got some fresh basil here from Trader Joe's that I've washed. And since we do have city water here, I just pour my pure water pitcher over it to clean it, and then I let it dry. If you have a salad spinner, that would be great to use too, so you can get the excess water off of it, but for now it's just dry. So I got the major stems off, and I just put it in a Ziploc bag. And I always, if I'm keeping something in the freezer, I'll stick a straw in there and just suck out as much air as I can. To keep it from staying as fresh as possible, you want to get the air out of there, and then I'll just store this in the freezer. I'm keeping the stems because I know there's still a lot of flavor and nutrients in there, so I'll add it to soups or to my bone broth. I'll just throw in the stems. I just really keep everything that I can, and I know that the stems still have some life in them, so I'll hang on to those. Okay, so of course I've got my food processor. I use this for so much, and I'm gonna put in my basil leaves. All of them straight in. I'm not gonna add oil or anything else. I'm just strictly using the food processor to do quick work of cutting this all up. Okay, so now all of the leaves are in there, and I'll pop the top on, and I'm gonna just hit pulse. Just like that. So that's gonna be perfect for what we're looking for. So we've got a perfect consistency of some amazing chopped up basil. I don't know how long that would have taken sitting there rolling them up and dicing it with a knife, but it would have been a long time, so I love my food processor. All right, so we're ready to start adding it to our ice cube tray. I'm gonna be pretty generous with each cube that I make, because if I get one out for some basil, I really wanna be able to have a good bit in there. So if you were using the food processor and you just kept pulsing and pulsing, with doing that and adding in a few more ingredients, that of course is how you make pesto. I'm gonna fill these up, some of them up with olive oil and some of them up for water. So if I'm making something like bone broth, I don't wanna add any olive oil in there. So I will have half of them for that, so I can just drop one in with my bone broth to give it a nice basil flavor and to also get some of the healing properties from the basil. And then if I'm making something like spaghetti, then it's okay to have some of the basil in there with the olive oil, then that's totally fine. Or if I'm making some chicken, again, totally fine if there is some olive oil in there. And I still have a good bit left, and this was just one little bushel from Trader Joe's, so you get quite a lot of basil, especially when you're able to use it and store it and you don't have half of it going bad. So that is what it looks like. I'm getting ready to put these into the freezer, and then I'll transfer it to some freezer bags, and I'll show you what the final product looks like. Here are my basil ice cubes. Now that they're all finished, they turned out amazing. I couldn't be happier. So it's obvious the ones that are with oil, so I'm gonna just transfer these into a Ziploc bag so that I can still use my ice cube tray for ice. But this is gonna be super convenient, and it's just awesome, and there's a lot of basil in there. So it was super easy and it was an awesome idea, and these will last indefinitely. And this is me using one of the olive oil basil cubes for my spaghetti that I made. I have a recipe up on that, and I hope you guys try it. It's definitely easy and a great way to preserve your herbs.